Are you a real estate investor looking to sharpen your skills or a newbie looking to become one? You're in the right place. Welcome to Where Should I Invest? Real Estate Investing in Canada with your host, Sarah Larby.
Let's talk about lifestyle for a minute and just if you could share what real estate has brought you in terms of your lifestyle. Like, what does that look like? Like, what does a typical month look like for you or year look like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, aside from, if we were to just discuss what real estate investing has been able to do for my life and my lifestyle, I don't even know. I mean, every single day, honestly, I just like, for example, I walk out and the beach is literally 30 seconds away, and it's just amazing. And every single day when I get to do that, I'm nothing but grateful. I started 12 years ago. And how I started was I actually invested in real estate. However, I wasn't educated. I wasn't trained. So I gave somebody else my money and they took my money and ran because they folded, and it was an ugly, ugly class action lawsuit back then. And that was really my aha moment. And so 12 years later, fast forward, I mean, I realized that when I first got started, all I wanted was, I was still climbing the corporate ladder back then. All I wanted to make sure that nobody else can take my money and run away with it, and me not knowing what to do. And obviously, I think at this point, your listeners, like all of us, we're all smart enough to know that the traditional investment vehicles really don't work for us. That's basically just putting money into RSPs, maybe even stock markets or mutual funds or anything like that. And then over the years, I think we really felt our lives started to change because we started to gain a bit more control over how much we want to work. And I think it was a lot of influence really came from years ago. I was listening to this successful entrepreneur talk, and he goes, this is how I view success. On Sunday, every week, I will look at my agenda for the upcoming 7 days. And the first things that I pen in are the things that I want to do, that feed my soul, that makes me excited, that gets me going. And that could be meditation, that could be gym, that could be outdoor activities, that could be just hanging out with friends, whatever it is, golfing, swimming, climbing, hiking, whatever it may be. And that was truly my aha moment. And I felt like from that point on, that set the blueprint for me. And so I realized that I really enjoy traveling. And I think some people, they know a little bit about my story, is that I've had 3 heart attacks in my life so far. And I'm still constantly dealing with 5 different autoimmune disorders. So what that really translates into is that I've just learned to honor how fragile and short sometimes life could be for some people. And I just want to maximize every living moment. And so obviously it didn't just magically happen. And that's why real estate investing has been one of those amazing vehicles for me personally, that I had to put my head down for the first few years, build my portfolio, create my passive income, create my active incomes through different projects. And it got to the point where we truly can say that we can be wherever we want, however long we want, with whoever we want, and doing whatever we want. And this is, 10, 12 years later. We're 12 years into my journey, basically. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, especially on Instagram these days, they're all like, oh, you're so lucky. Oh, it just seemed like it's an overnight success kind of thing. No, I worked for 12 years to get here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you've got this lifestyle, but you built it and you put in, I'm sure, lots of, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And even for me too, like there were, when I was working full time and I was working, some jobs were requiring me to work 80 hours a week, plus, then the real estate stuff on top of it. Like, it is a grind that you need to do for a certain amount of time. Can you share a little bit of like what your life looked like before as you were getting there?
Oh, life. Well, you know what? You actually just said the exact number that I usually say, 80 hours a week. And I think you're a lot younger than me. So I'm going to say that there was one point in time, I actually slept with my blackberries. I sometimes call it blueberries. I don't know why. Blackberries. And I had 2 of those.
I had a BlackBerry as well. When I first started. Yeah, I don't think I'm as young as you think. I'm young. Maybe 38.
Okay. There we go. I mean, I just turned 40 a couple weeks
Nice.
ago.
So we're like almost the same age here.
Almost. Yeah. So
Enough
you
to
know the
know what a
BlackBerry days.
BlackBerry is, because we probably both had one.
So many people don't know these days. It's so funny. And so I used to sleep with my Blackberries next to me because I was in marketing and in sales, and I was managing 4 different teams by the time I was 28 years old across 3 different time zones, because we live in a very big and expensive country. And what that really meant is that at about 6 o'clock in the morning, I mean, I call Edmonton home when I'm in Canada. So that's usually mountain time. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's 8 o'clock Eastern time, where you're at usually. And my phone would start ringing because my East Coast peeps are getting ready for the day. And I also manage people anywhere from 25 all the way to 60 something. And that also means that their circadian rhythms are very different. So basically, I would be answering calls from 6 o'clock in the morning till past midnight every day. And what that also meant is I had to travel every other week to go and coach my team, to be on the road, to have meetings. So I'd be flying, I'd be driving to Calgary, to Victoria, to Vancouver, to Toronto. That was the life. And because at the time, my mindset, like most of us growing up, is, you know, study hard, get a degree, get a good job, get a corporate job, especially climb that ladder. So there's benefits, there's pension, there's retirement, all that kind of good stuff. And really, all that meant nothing when I hit my 3rd heart attack, because I literally was working myself to the ground. And that was what life was like before real estate. And then somebody took my savings and ran with it. So something had to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do want to say, like, I mean, you know, 3 heart attacks, it was, you know, and you're fit. So it's not necessarily, I think this is a genetic thing, right? You were born with this. Is that what it was?
Yes. So yeah, it didn't happen until I was 17. So by the age of 18, I had my first one, and started seeing a cardiologist, doing a bunch of tests, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. And then 19, had a second one. And so got referred to another cardiologist, and I was in Vancouver at the time, and still couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. However, the second one was probably smart enough to say, I can figure it out. However, you've had 2, so this is probably serious. So he referred me to, back then, the head of the cardiology department at St. Paul's in downtown Vancouver. And within a couple of tests, this guy was able to say, yep, I know exactly what's wrong with you. Turns out, after puberty, I grew an extra circuit and 2 extra arteries in my heart, but they were very micro. And so that's why it was really hard for them to figure out what was wrong with me. And I mean, I wasn't always fit because of all the natural illnesses. And this is why I always say, you know, by the time I'm 40, I want to look my hottest. Because in my 20s, when all my friends were going to the gym, they were looking super great, I was in a hospital all the time.
Wow.
So yeah, I just made health and fitness a priority ever since then. I mean, especially having the time freedom, it's much easier to do that too.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, is there a risk of a 4th heart attack, or is that a non-issue anymore?
I don't think it's going to be an issue anymore. I mean, the 3rd one was really, really complicated, because after I had a surgery in 2002, and my 3rd one was 2011. And even when that happened, my doctor was like, that is not supposed to happen. And it turned out that it was also complication from one of the autoimmune disorders that I'm dealing with, where through malnutrition, overworking, stress, and my rib cage was actually caving in and putting pressure on my already operated and less functioning heart than a normal heart. So yeah.
So has that changed your mindset at all, like going through that?
I would say 1,000%, because like I said earlier, I realized, I think there's a blessing in disguise, really, because right now I'm truly, truly grateful that I've had to deal with all the health challenges leading up to this point and continuing on, because it becomes sort of the measuring stick in terms of how I want to approach my life every single day. So, sure. I mean, I'm not, you know, wasteful in going. I always have to do amazing 5-star vacations. However, I'm also not going to deprive myself and put things off either. And that doesn't apply just to pleasure. It applies to work and work ethic as well.
Absolutely. And just like for people to kind of, you know, understand, you also have a large portfolio of real estate, and you do some coaching and that kind of stuff, but like how are you, if you don't mind sharing just like what your portfolio is I guess today roughly what it is, but like also how you're managing this all while you're vacationing 150 days out of the year.
So, I mean, this is what I really wanted to do, is the fact that I wanted to build a business leveraging real estate as the vehicle. Because I think there are a lot of people, when they look at real estate, they are thinking, I'm going to say, think bigger, dream bigger with real estate, because all you're doing is leveraging a different investment vehicle to build a business. And business by definition means that you got to have processes and systems. More importantly, you need to be able to hire people that you can trust. However, trust is not always given, and we know that. And depending on your natural personality type, for some people, it might be harder. I know a lot of people think that I'm a control freak. I am. I have been. I have a little bit of OCD tendencies. I love cleaning. That's one of the first things that I noticed. And however, it just comes down to I love keeping things organized and in order.
Thanks so much for listening to Where Should I Invest with your host, Sarah Larby. Make sure to listen in next time. We'll catch you on the next episode of Where Should I Invest?